This is the Shaver Prep Football Podcast, episode 29, season 2, presented by Aquarius Home Services and brought to you by True Stone Financial, 612 Quarterbacks, Pizza Barn, and powered by 10K Construction. Week 1 of the Minnesota high school football season is in the books, and a couple of surprises. Rushford-Peterson upset Caledonia 21-14, and Andover opened their 6A schedule with a crushing victory over Wayzata, 44-20. And our Talk North Walk the Talk winner for his efforts in that game is Andover quarterback Joseph Mapson, 216 yards rushing and 5 touchdowns on the ground, 95 yards passing, and a touchdown pass. A monster effort. And Joseph joins me now. Great football game on Thursday night to open your 6A adventure. What was working for you? What did you keep going back to a same play? What was working?
Oh yeah, we were getting a great push all night since the first snap of the game. So I mean, if it's not broke, we don't need to fix it. So you just keep running up the middle. It's opening up different opportunities for everybody to make a big play.
So here's your chance to laud that offensive line. Tell me about your offensive line. How well did they play on Thursday?
It was amazing. I mean, they just played their hearts out all game. You know, it made my job a lot easier, especially running the ball. But, you know, you got to praise them when they have a game like that for sure.
What did you expect when you walked into a 6A football stadium and to start this adventure? Not just for you, but for your teammates too. What was the expectation of starting 6A?
You know, just bringing energy, honestly. Like, it's a bigger stadium, more people. You know, it's kind of like it makes the game a lot more fun and also more competitive too. So, you know, we were just expecting to go in there and just play our hearts out, compete, and try to win the game.
Were you surprised at the outcome, or did you expect that this would happen?
No, I wasn't surprised at all. The preparation we put in all summer and all spring, I knew we had a special team.
So tell me about just you as a player. How are you different from, because you've been varsity for 3 years now? Would this be the third?
Kind of 2. I played a couple snaps sophomore year, but not much.
But you kind of shared that position with another quarterback, and now it's you. How would you describe yourself as a quarterback? What do you think makes you good at that position?
I feel like my ability to take care of the ball. You know, I like to keep the ball in our hands and not turn it over. Now, obviously, it's the main goal, but
right.
I also like to use my legs, so it makes it a lot easier. We can do a lot more around our offense. So the defense can't key in on one thing on a week, so they got to be ready for anything that we bring.
When I watch video of your highlights, you kind of remind me a little bit of Caleb Francois when he was at Minnetonka last year and played the quarterback position, but he was really kind of a running back. That's what he switched to this year for the Skippers. Do you see a little of that comparison?
I can see that. Yeah, I saw you had a lot of rushing yards last year. Yeah.
I mean, is that the game plan offensively for Andover? Is for you to? I mean, these are planned runs in a lot of ways, or
a lot of option kind of things. But also, you know, it's first week. We just kind of want to dip our feet in the water, not do too much. But
So you're saying that the game plan was pretty simple this week. You didn't put a lot of stuff in there just because you didn't want to overload. Is your offensive line, are they seniors? Are they an experienced group? What was this kind of test for them? And how would you say they did in this first test?
3 of them played quite a bit last year.
Okay.
Yeah. But they really stepped up. Definitely the that are juniors now, the kids that are juniors now, they really came in and stepped up and actually played really well. So that's great.
So you get this win. You're 1-0, and now you get Champlain Park to come into your place for a 6A home game for the first time. And they're 1-0. They got off to a good start against St. Michael Albertville. What do you they always say that the most improvement from a football team is between weeks 1 and weeks 2. What do you expect as you get yourself ready for week 2 from your club? I'm sure you guys are excited, but what kind of improvements should we expect to see from Andover football in week 2?
We watched film when we came in from last game. There's a lot of things, a lot of mistakes that we had that we could definitely clean up. But, that's the things that we kind of got to focus on, but we also got to stick to the basics too. We can't forget about that. But Chamberlain's a solid team. So, we're not going to do anything different. We're going to prepare like how we did all summer and come out and compete.
Well, I appreciate you joining me. Joseph, over 200 yards rushing and 5 rushing touchdowns on Thursday and a touchdown pass as well. It's probably the greatest opening night for anybody in Minnesota high school football. And congratulations to you. You're off to a great start. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
The Edina Hornets opened the season with a big win over Hopkins, 49-21, and stud quarterback Mason West threw for over 200 yards and 4 touchdowns. It's football right now for Mason, but the NHL is hopefully just around the corner. Edina quarterback Mason West, who will someday be playing in the NHL, but not right now, joins me live, of course, coming back for one last go around in football before you really take off on your high school or your college hockey and professional hockey career. Thanks for doing this. You've been everywhere this summer. Obviously you got drafted in the first round by the Blackhawks. Super exciting. We'll talk about that in a second. I watched your interview with John Gruden. That hilarious. Looked like so much fun. How much preparation time did you have before you and John sat down to talk?
I think I had like 1 minute, really. I didn't really have any preparation time. I really didn't know what was like going to happen or what he was going to ask. And right as I joined the call, it was weird just seeing like John Gruden right there. And I've always like watched him on TV with football. So it was cool. It was a really cool experience.
So we should explain this. You win a state championship in hockey last year for Edina. When you were in here last year, we talked on this podcast. You didn't quite, at least you didn't let me know where you were leaning. You were kind of, you weren't sure.
Yeah.
Were you always thinking, though, that hockey was going to be it? You just had to see some of the pieces fall into place.
Yeah, I would just say I really didn't know until I went to Fargo. Okay. Obviously, like after I finished the Edina hockey year, and I loved that year, and I thought I played good throughout the whole year, and we played good as a team. So I kind of just started to love hockey more. And right as I went to Fargo and kind of just saw the next step in the path for me, and I felt like I got so much better there just in the span of a month. And I feel like if I was there for a whole year, that'd be really good for me. So that's when I kind of started to love hockey a little bit more, and that's kind of why I chose to pursue hockey.
So the Fargo Force are in the United States Hockey League. So you go there, you play about 10 games or so.
Yeah.
You will leave after football this fall, and you will return there. How many games will you get in there before that ends, and then you start thinking about your college?
Yeah, I should get around like 45 to 50 regular season games, and then depending how good we do in playoffs. So,
and how does that help you in your development for hockey?
Yeah, I think honestly, just going straight from the USHL to the high school league, guys are a little bit bigger, more physical, stronger, faster. So you have to adapt to that, which I think I do a good job of. But I think it's just more of awareness than anything. I mean, obviously everyone in USHL and high school can pass, shoot, score. So you just got to be aware of those big guys, and things happen faster. So those little quick plays, you got to be more adaptable to. And I think I did a good job of that, but that was kind of the biggest thing for me to transition into. And I think I kind of did well with that. I think our coaches really helped me with that too.
So you make the decision, though, I'm going to come back and play one more fall of football at Edina. I'm sure Jason Potts was thrilled. I'm sure your teammates were thrilled. Was this a hard decision? Or, I mean, because you kind of got things laid out where you want them to go for your future. Was this easy or hard
to decide football?
Yeah.
It was easy. I mean, I've always loved playing football. I've played football, baseball, hockey since I don't even know, since I was around like 4 or 5. So it was pretty easy, because just seeing guys like Anders Lee do it makes me think I can do it too. I think he's doing pretty well right now. Yeah. So I think just seeing him do it really gave me more confidence that I can do it. And I want to be loyal to my teammates. I played with these guys since I was like 7 years old. So I want to go try to chase something
For
special.
those that don't know, Anders Lee played quarterback at Edina, played hockey. Now the captain of the New York Rangers. He sat in your seat a year ago. He and I talked. I've known him for a long, long time. And he has made that transition. Did you talk to him about this? Because you're in the same position he was when.
Yeah, for sure. I've talked to him about like 3 or 4 times actually. Yeah, before the draft and kind of before the recruiting process, I guess, with my decision to go to Michigan State.
What did he tell you?
He wanted me to go to Notre Dame, but
of course he did.
Yeah, but I think he just wanted me to be a kid. That was like the main thing he said, is to have fun and be a kid. I mean, he wishes he could go back and play with his high school buddies, and that made me realize like how special it is. So I'm in the best time of my life right now as I'm playing with my high school buddies and kind of just having fun playing both sports and kind of just still being a kid while I am. I
feel like when we walked into the studio today, you are bigger, taller, stronger looking than you were a year ago when you sat here. Have you grown?
I have, yeah. I think I've grown around like 2 inches.
Holy cow.
Yeah, I've gained around like 5 to 10 pounds.
6, 7?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
College coaches are going like, what? That's the perfect height, weight to be a college football quarterback. Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah.
How do you balance all this stuff? Because your focus is hockey. You know that's what you're going to do. Yet you got to find a way to prepare yourself to play football this fall. Has it been easy, hard? How have you done that?
I think, I guess going into my senior year, it's a little bit easier. I mean, obviously my sophomore year was a little bit more difficult, but I think once me and my mom kind of set out a plan to kind of manage everything, it really made everything less stressful. And I think now that I have a good routine and everything, I mean, I can wake up, work out, do hockey and football on the same day. I'm kind of used to it. So I do a good job of kind of recovering and taking care of my body so I can be ready for the next day and those games on those Friday nights. But I think the biggest things for me was just to sit down with my mom and get a routine. And I've kind of done that for around like 2 years now. So I'm kind of used to it and feel comfortable with playing hockey and football every day and working out and also kind of just having fun.
Is it a little bit difficult though for the mental side of preparing for football when you know that this is short-lived, that you're going to go play hockey?
Yeah, no, for sure. It's definitely like tough to think about that. I guess like football will end this year and stuff like that, but that's how I want to make the most of it and work extra hard, be more detailed in every practice and watch more film, and whether it's talking to our coaches about what we can do better in practice or stuff that we aren't really doing that well. I kind of just want to really be detailed and dialed in on that so we can have a great year this year. And I'm excited.
Take me back to draft day for the NHL. How exciting was that?
It was surreal. Yeah. And it was really cool that I got to spend it with my family too. I think some guys didn't have their family there. Yep. So it was kind of nice that I got to have my family there and hang out with them. And I mean, obviously I didn't really know where I was going to go. I was kind of just there, and I was super blessed to be there, and obviously super blessed to be drafted on Friday in the first round. And I think the coolest part was just hugging my family with just how much they've done for me, and I wouldn't be here without them. So it's super blessed to have them in my life, and that was kind of the coolest part for me. Obviously, getting drafted and walking up was cool, but I would definitely say hugging my parents just because how much they've done for me.
So the Minnesota Wild, obviously the professional team here in town, but before that, the North Stars. And if the North Stars were still here and you get drafted by the Blackhawks, do you know what kind of crap you would be getting? Seriously, the hatred between those two franchises for such a long period of time was, it was brutal.
Yeah.
How they hated each other. We don't get that feeling now, but have you had some people say, the Blackhawks, really?
Yeah. Right as I got home, everyone's like, I guess you got to be a Blackhawks fan now because everyone's like Wild or some other fans think everyone doesn't really like the Blackhawks. But maybe try to love them up a little bit.
Certainly a hated rivalry. What's in your head, because you're going to go play college hockey at Michigan State. That's the plan. In your head, what do you want that timetable to be to go from college to the pros? Ideally, what would you hope it is?
Yeah, for sure. I like to stay in the moment. So I guess my answer would kind of just be, I don't really know. I kind of like being a kid and staying in the moment and having fun. And as I said before, I'm kind of in the best time of my life. So I'm kind of just focused on this football year and hockey year. And I think when I'm ready to go in, I'll go in and stuff like that. So I'm not too worried or stressed about that. I think you kind of got to focus on the main thing and keep the main thing the main thing. And I guess that's working hard tomorrow and getting a good workout and being really detailed every day.
Well, we wish you nothing but the best.
Thank you.
You've been exciting to watch on the football field. You won a state title in hockey for Edina last year. You're off to bigger and better things, and we wish you nothing but the best. You've been great.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you doing this. We'll be right back. Let's look at your fall water checklist. If you check yes to orange rust stains, smelly water, and that funny taste, then you should get a new Kinetical water treatment system from Aquarius Home Services. Then check yes to worry-free drinking water, spotless dishes, and softer laundry. Get a free water analysis plus 36-month zero financing based on credit approval. Visit AquariusHomeservices.com today. Aquarius, earning the right to be recommended. Defending state 4A football champion Becker will host Hutchinson on Friday night, and on that night, they will reveal their Mount Rushmore of football players that spans 55 years at Becker. And here's the longtime head coach, Dwight Lundeen.
So if they come to our first game on that September 5th, they can open up the program. They can see there's 55 special fun facts about Becker football. How many pork chops have we sold? And then we're going to introduce those 4 Mount Rushmore guys. And we could have had hundreds of people that could have gone on there, but the 4 people were outstanding role models for Becker football representing us. They all played great college careers, and they're 4 great choices. So I couldn't be happier with those 4.
And no doubt on that Becker Mount Rushmore will be the great Dillon Radunz. Well, the NFL season is upon us, and the New Orleans Saints have a Minnesota connection on their offensive line this year. Dillon Radunz joins me now, the pride of Becker, Minnesota. And congratulations, first of all, because this is your first foray into free agency. You end up with the Saints after spending time with Tennessee. How's the transition from Nashville to New Orleans?
Yeah, first of all, thank you. It's been interesting. It's a lot more humid, a lot hotter down there. Nashville's pretty hot too, but it's definitely been a weather change. I keep migrating south, especially being a Minnesota kid. I mean, I go up there and visit Minnesota, and I'm like, wow, the summers up here are definitely a lot better. But it's been good. The food down in New Orleans is great. The people are great. The city's got a great soul. Excited. The new coaching staff has been phenomenal. Just getting this team together. Kellen Moore's done a great job, and yeah, we're excited to kick off the season starting next week during camp.
What sold you on New Orleans when you were looking around after you decided that you were going to make that move?
Ultimately you got to look at your options, and through free agency, I wasn't the highest priority guard on the market, but at the end of the day, it came down to a few teams, and like I said, Kellen Moore just won a Super Bowl with the Eagles. He coming in, hopefully bringing some of that juice there. And then the O-line coach, when I had a meeting with the Saints, Nugent, he was great. So just a culmination of a lot of factors. Just ended up me wanting to choose the Saints just because coaching staff and the culture that they're going to instill there. So
I love your story because you moved to Becker early in your childhood, first grade, around there. Circumstances in your life, your father passes away, and Dwight Lundeen is there. I can't think of a better man in this world than Dwight Lundeen. Talk a little bit about your relationship with him and what that's meant to you over time.
Yeah, for sure. Like you said, I moved to Becker in first grade. My dad, he wanted all of me and my brother to play football. I think I was in first grade during that 05, 04, 06 stretch where they went to 3 back-to-back state championships. So my dad was like, all right, we're going to go play for this guy, this school. They're very successful, all that stuff. And then like you mentioned, Dad passed away just before my 7th grade year. And then, that youth football program from 7th, 8th, 9th grade. And then when I got to, even in 9th grade, when Dwight was looking at us and whatnot and watching us, you just felt his presence. And then getting into varsity and junior varsity, just having him as a presence to guide me, as a father figure, being that I didn't really have one in the household right away after my father passed, and then having Troy Robinson in there as well. And I mean, Håkon Bankston, and I mean, even other coaches in other sports, Josh Erkey in that school. I mean, I had a lot of father figures going through that school. And I think a lot of it is the culture that Dwight started. I mean, he's the only head coach that Becker football's ever had. So just the culture that he's been able to instill in that Becker community and that youth sports program has just been unbelievable. And I'm definitely a product of it. I'm a product of what he's able to do. And I can't thank him enough for being the father figure that I needed growing up.
So talk a little bit about between your junior and senior year. You jump in a car with Dwight and you guys go visit college campuses as you're starting to figure out where you're going to go play football. What was it like traveling with Dwight Lundeen from, like, I don't know, was it Colorado and Ohio State and
for
all
sure.
Of that?
Yeah, traveling with Dwight was awesome. I think one of the hotels we stayed at, just you realize how giving and helpful of a person he is and how much he cares. Like I think it was like there was a light out in the hallway or something, and before you know it, Dwight's up on a ladder helping one of these hotel employees change a light bulb and stuff. And it's just incredible the things he does for others and just the giving spirit that he has. And I don't know, I've got a few videos of Troy. Troy Robinson was on that trip too. He was sawing logs in the back seat of the car. So yeah, just having those two guys guide me through the recruiting process that college was so helpful in making my decision to go to NDSU. So,
and NDSU turned out to be just a great place for you. It's amazing to me. I look at you. You go to NDSU. You win what? 3 national titles, right?
Correct. Probably should have been 4 without COVID.
Without COVID. And your football, your junior year, you win 13 straight games and a title. Your senior year, you go 13-0. You hardly ever lost a football game in like 5 years, right?
Correct. I think the stat, if I played in the game, I lost the first game of my junior year of high school,
Minnetonka,
and then I didn't lose another game that I played in until I got to the NFL.
That's insane.
Yeah. Yep. So Minnetonka was my last loss, and then my first loss that I played in, I think I don't remember, maybe the Cardinals or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I got in the NFL. So yeah, it was a crazy college career.
So like from 2014 until 2021, that was a 7-year stretch of football where you went undefeated. That is absolutely crazy. I know you were a 3-sport guy at Becker. We talk about on this podcast, it's a high school football podcast for players, coaches, and fans. We always talk about, and I get a lot of guests on here like yourself that preach about being a 3-sport athlete and how important that is. How about for you? What did being a 3-sport guy do for you in the football sense?
I'm a 3-sport guy through and through. I think my opinion is always going to be that kids should be a 3-sport guy. That's not to yuck anybody's yum. And if it works for you, it works for you. But in my opinion, I think 3 sports is the way to go, especially from a younger age, middle school, even beginning of high school. Just the way you develop and you learn different ways to work with teammates in other sports. You learn different abilities like basketball. Basketball defensive-wise, I'm an offensive lineman in the NFL. Playing basketball, it's basically the same thing. Playing defense on basketball is just like being an offensive lineman to a certain extent. So you learn you have quick feet, get in front of people, shot put and discus, great feet control inside the ring in track. And then I did a little bit of high jump. I mean, I wasn't great at high jump, but, just stuff like that. I think it just teaches you as a kid, especially when you're developing and growing. And especially me, like I grew so much between height-wise between like my freshman and sophomore year. So it was just like being able to have 3 sports to grow into my body with was just so helpful instead of just trying to focus on one and then you might get burnt out or frustrated or whatever, but just keeping it lively and keeping it learning. So I'm a huge proponent of 3 sports and I think it helped me out tremendously.
So put on your coach's hat for me for this. There's offensive linemen that are watching this, young guys that are want to end up playing, college football down the road, whatever. What are the most important things now that your experience has shown you are the most important things for these young guys to be thinking about? What do you focus on? What are you trying to do to get yourself better at offensive line?
I say, in my opinion, I could boil it down to three things. I think it's footwork. You got to have a good base underneath you, have great feet. Always working on foot placement in every single block that you can have, whether it's run block or pass pro. I think it comes down to your core strength and your ability to balance. Those two things are massive in O-line play. Being able to get in and out of good positions with that is huge. And having a good core strength and good balance helps you do that. And then I think your hand placement is massive, because if you have bad hands, I mean, it doesn't really matter what your feet or your balance does, because people can just take control of your chest and move you wherever you need to go. So I think a combination of those three things is vital. Weight room's obviously important, but I mean, I think technique wins overall if you're slightly not as strong as your opponent, but ultimately it comes down to a lot of those techniques and, like I said, core strength. So when you think of Friday nights in Becker, what do you think of? Black Betty and probably pork chops. So yeah, we scored a lot of touchdowns when I was there. So that song rang true every single time. And then a lot of Sweet Caroline after the game. But yeah, definitely those songs. And then those pork chops they had on the grill were absolutely delicious.
Dillon, thanks so much for doing this. Good luck during the football season. Stay healthy. That's always a big thing. And I know you're watching Becker from afar. They won the state title last year. He's just the man's amazing. He just keeps cranking, doesn't he?
Just keeps winning.
He
They're
just
number
keeps
one.
winning. Yeah. All right.
Yep.
Thanks for doing this. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
10K Construction is your one stop for all your general contracting needs, whether interior, exterior, residential, commercial, or multifamily properties. They build relationships with their clients, and that's how they've grown their business, through referrals. Plus, they are teaming up with LP SmartSide to become Minnesota's premier siding installer. And they're also partnering with IKO Shingles as well. They've got the best of the best to do the job right. 10K Construction covers both Minnesota and Wisconsin. Now, the rumor is they charge a little extra because it's Packer land. I'm not sure about that. But what I am sure about, 10K Construction is the company you want, handling all of your general contracting needs. Go to 10kconstruction.com for details. This episode is brought to you by 612 Quarterbacks, Minnesota's premier quarterback development program. At 612 Qs, they're committed to creating a high-quality quarterback development program, both affordable and accessible. Their training goes beyond the basics, not only focusing on proper throwing mechanics and footwork, but also building strong football IQ, leadership, and resilience. Their mission is to educate, inspire, and challenge athletes to raise their standards on the field and in life. Through training and mentorship, they're building more than quarterbacks. They're building a community rooted in growth, accountability, and shared success. Learn more today at 612quarterbacks.com. All right, we're going to talk district section football with three guys who are really ingrained in all of this as we start a new 2-year cycle for schedules in high school football. Will Wackman handles the 5A, Ted Schultz, the 6A, and Eric Brever handles the 4A. You guys, 42 teams moved either up or down from a year ago in high school football, most of those in the 9-man, 1A, 2A range, but there's been some shifts going along, as there always is. Will, I'll start with you. Is this a crazier year than normal, or have you guys been able to kind of manage all of the movement here and get people, I guess, get teams in the right place as we start a new year?
Well, I would say it's a learning year because we've done this now a second time and Eric's bringing it into 4A. But I think the biggest change was Moorhead. leaving. So that affected Ted with Ted's crew at 6A. It affected 5A, and they're a heck of a football team. You know that. And now there's that trickle down effect. They go up, who comes down, who's not used to 5A, who's used to 6A, that type of thing. So now it just throws another curveball at us that we got to try to figure out. So that's what we do collectively, and then we kind of take our own class.
And we should also say that it's not always just based on enrollment sometimes, right? I mean, there's always discussions about where a football program is at a certain point. Talk about that, Eric, because there are teams that, I know Ted can speak to the Maroon in the 6A, but there are teams that I've noticed in the schedules the last couple of years, you've tried to give, I guess, relief in some way or another.
Yeah, we really spend a lot of time working on that because our overall goal is to find a competitive schedule for every school in the state. And I always tell schools, and I truly believe this is true. We look to try and get every schedule a 4-4 record. And when you look at it on balance, that you put teams and schedule them such that they could be 4-4 every year, and that gets hard sometimes because some schools, who are good programs, I'll throw a Becker, for example. They're a phenomenally good program. They've been perennially at the top of the class in 4A. How do you get them 4 competitive games? And then you have other schools on the other end who are really struggling, and how do you find 4 competitive games for them? But that's the task that we look for, in our scheduling itself. So
I noticed in 5A, for example, the previous 2 years, Will, you were finding competitive games. Mankato's coming to the Metro. They're playing 3 games here this year. They did that over that 2-year cycle. That was a change from what we've seen in the past of the schedules. Is that kind of here to stay, where you are going to try to get more competitive games for the programs that are in a better shape at certain points?
Yeah, I think, the 3 of us really care about football, and football is such an important thing for communities that if you lose it, it's very hard to get back. So, I think a success story is like Two Rivers. They were struggling. They've now are starting to roll. In fact, we're playing them the first week. I think they went 7-1 and 7-1. And, you call their AD and say, how did that go? And they said, well, wow. All these little boys are wearing jerseys. The crowd it's packed at school. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to create games. We don't want people getting on buses and going, why are we getting on this bus? Either way, we want a competitive game, and it's funny. A lot of people go, wow, Elk River's this great program. They're a great program. Coach Hamilton does a great job. They forget they were state champs, then they were 2-6, and then they were state champs. So 6 teams actually beat them. So, that's what you can do when you put competitive matchups. And I think people want to see that. I don't know a parent that wants to go, well, let's go see a blowout. That's not what we're trying to do, but we're also really trying to help those programs a lot and keep rivalries going.
Right. So Ted, you handle 6A. Did you send an I'm sorry letter to Moorhead? since you put them in the West with Eden Prairie, Maple Grove, Edina, I mean, good Lord! I mean, welcome to Class 6A.
Yeah, I would say once it got announced, there was an area code that showed up on my phone quite often, and I tried to explain that I don't have that magical power to place you. I just have the ability then to adjust where it's going to go. But no, with all respect to Dean and the crew up there, they really communicated well. They're ready to dive in. It does create a unique dynamic because we're either going to go north or west, and both present different challenges to where where they end up going. And it just happened they got placed in the West, which is really competitive, and it will be and they're very good. So they have a ton. I think of I saw somewhere 3 or 4 Division I players, so they should fit right in and have maybe some of the best talent in there as well. But when you try to balance the seating with the relief, and it gets to be such a dynamic, and then you try to fit the puzzle pieces in, and they got placed with us in the West.
So talk a little bit about the Maroon in 6A. And again, there's only 5 teams in the Maroon this year. Coon Rapids opted to stay 6A this year. Eastview, Park, Hopkins, and Roseville. How do you see how 6A has the Maroon in 6A to give them competitive schedules? How has that turned out, do you think? Or is it still very much a difficult thing to do and a work in progress?
Yeah, I think it starts with listening, really. I had to go back 6 to 8 years ago, listening to the schools, and we heard a large cry from a lot of schools saying we want to have accurate section seeds, and we also heard a large cry from schools that say, hey, we need some relief. I think we've came up with kind of a minutia. I'm going to say it's not a tight rubrics, but it's flexibility to kind of meet both those needs of the 6A schools. And yeah, I think the maroon and the relief really gives, if you talk to those schools and those ADs, like Buffalo was in it last year, and in Eastview, I think of, and it was Ben Hopkins and Park and whoever's in it this year. It gives them a chance to that 4-and-4 goal that they talked about with the 4A and the 5A. And then they also get a chance to jump back into their home sub-districts that are based on the sections to kind of see, okay, we got 4 or 5 games in this pot, we get 2 or 3 in this pot here. And so they get a nice overall experience while having some success, while still playing a lot of the teams. So I feel like the approval rating, 2 things I would say is over 90% when we'd survey after each year, which for 6A with all the what's that, high opinions that people have of what 6A football should do is pretty good. And then when we voted, only one of the 32 schools voted against the schedule. So that's a remarkable agreement from a lot of opinions and a lot of different viewpoints. So I feel like we got it's not perfect, but we have a nice compromise for everybody.
And that's really one of the secrets here is you can't make everybody happy, right, Eric? I mean, it's impossible. You're going to set a schedule. You're going to set up districts and sections. Not everybody's going to be happy with it, but the goal is to try to make it as fair as possible. That's the secret, right?
As best we can. I mean, the Skyway, for example, which is predominantly a 4A district itself, we have 53 schools. So you got a lot of opinions. And what's crazy to me, and I know Will and I have talked about this, Ted and I've talked about this in the past, but it's always crazy that you talk to the coaches, you talk to these ADs, and every year of the 53 schools, 45 will call you and say, we're not going to be as good as we were last year. Like, that's just not possible. It's just not possible. It's going to be fine. Everybody's kind of in the same boat. And every year, as John Gallardi used to say, I replace irreplaceable players with more irreplaceable players. So we'll be okay on this. So
what do you think, you guys, as we just look at football as a whole for me right now, off of the topic of schedules and that kind of thing, where's football right now in Minnesota? Will, where do you think it sits? Are we in a great place? What needs to happen? And all three can chime in. What needs to happen to make it better?
I think it's never been healthier. I mean, just nationally too. You look at the Vikings and on what Coach Fleck's done, and our NDSU takes a lot of Minnesota kids, and they're in South Dakota State, and then you got our MIAC throws out national powers. Then you get to high school, and it's never been safer. The coaching's never been better. I mean, in our community, we've never had as many kids out. I mean, it's blowing up, and that was a big change. I think the awareness has MFCA has done a good job, the awareness of things like that. And actually listening, here's what we're going to do. Football's coached differently. It's played differently now, and the athletes are so good. So I think it's just going to keep growing and growing and growing. That's my personal opinion, but these guys might have a different look. But
Ted, what do you think?
Yeah, I would just echo the first thing that jumps out to me is the safety of the sport. Is we all know from when maybe we played or coached to where it is now, it is light years difference in terms of the experience kids get, and it's done awesome. Our coaches are so well prepped and so well prepared at whatever the level is to teach the game the right way. I think that's the first thing that jumps out. So football very healthy there, and the second thing is just Friday nights. Like if you go and check out any of these sites from 9-man all the way up to 6A, you're getting an awesome student experience that encompasses the community and the school community. And that's what high school sports are all about. That makes it really special.
Yeah, I think, I totally echo what Will and Ted both say here. It is the front porch of your school in many ways, the football program, and Friday nights are sort of a celebration of the school community. You've got dance teams, you got bands and all sorts of things. That's what it's supposed to be. At the same time, I think you're seeing some schools, particularly in the urban centers, that they're just going through demographic shifts. Austin is a great example. They've, a phenomenal power for years and years, and they've kind of fallen along with their community, just changing over into communities that might not be as football centric as they once were. To that end, we're trying to be creative in terms of what we're trying to do. In the Twin Cities, for example, we're allowing a Minneapolis-St. Paul championship game this year, a Twin Cities championship for the first time in about 10 years. So there's some excitement to be able to kind of bring some of that stuff back that we haven't had for years, because now we can do it. And we've facilitated that, and credit to the coaches in the Twin Cities itself for saying, hey, this is important to us, so let's do it, because that's what our changing communities need. So we were fortunate enough to be able to accommodate it, and we think it was important to do it. So
in the sport of football, there are many thankless jobs. There are many. And you're looking at three guys who do basically a thankless job to coordinate the schedules, the sections, the districts, to make it all work. So thank you guys for your help. Thank you for making football a great sport. And if there are anybody that wants to complain, they now know who to find. Mm-hmm. There they are, right there.
I can't imagine there's anyone that has a complaint about high school football.
Oh, my God. Hey, guys, thanks for doing this. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Randy.
These days, you can get a checking account, a credit card, or a mortgage just about anywhere. But what you can't always find is the personal touch of a neighborhood credit union like Truestone Financial. I've known the folks at Truestone for many years. They put people first. They take time with you, they get to know you, and they use their expertise to connect with the services that help achieve your financial well-being. Truestone is a not-for-profit financial institution owned by the very people they serve, and they're in your neighborhood. Visit truestone.org and get to know them. They can't wait to meet you. Truestone is an equal housing opportunity lender. Our Talk North games of the week on Friday, September 5th. Wow. 6A, Eden Prairie at defending champion Maple Grove, who's handled EP the last few times they've played. And in Class 1A, Eden Valley Watkins takes on Minneota. The Vikings are riding a 34-game winning streak. That game definitely one to watch. The Shaver Prep Football Podcast drops every Monday, and you can catch us on YouTube and where podcasts can be found. My thanks to producer Alex Haugen and the great folks here at Talk North. Thanks for watching and listening, and we'll see you next week.